Let me tell you a shocking secret. Every time you bake, there's something inside your dough that's alive, eating and reproducing. That thing is called yeast. But don't worry. It may sound unsettling, but this is exactly where the magic begins. When you mix flour, water, and sugar, you're not just following a recipe, you're unknowingly creating a stage for millions of microscopic organisms to come alive. They eat, they breathe, and in the process, they transform a dense, heavy dough into something soft, airy, and irresistibly fragrant. What's even more fascinating is that you can barely see any of it happening. Everything unfolds in silence, little by little, until the dough rises before your eyes like a quiet miracle. What is yeast, and how can it actually live in your food?
I'm Edward, and this is QC Project Simple Things. Today, let's explore what is really happening inside your bread.
If we were to define it precisely, yeast is not just an ordinary ingredient, but a living organism, a single-celled fungus that has accompanied humans for thousands of years. It doesn't have a visible form like the things we're used to seeing, yet it exists almost everywhere, in the air, on the surface of fruits, and even in your own kitchen. When given the right conditions, a bit of moisture, some warmth, and a source of sugar, yeast awakens and begins to act. Its nature is quite simple. It feeds to survive, and in doing so, it produces energy through a complex process. What makes it remarkable, however, is that the byproducts of this process, carbon dioxide and aromatic compounds, are what completely transform food. Through the release of CO2, yeast creates tiny bubbles that become trapped within the dough, causing it to rise and turn soft and airy. At the same time, this transformation produces a wide range of complex flavor compounds, from the warm aroma of freshly baked bread to subtle sweetness to slightly tangy or creamy notes. Perhaps that is why yeast, though small and invisible, remains one of the most important silent characters in the world of food. Now, let's go into the details of how these wondrous creatures operate. Once everything is ready, with a bit of flour, warm water, and sugar, yeast begins its familiar journey. It does not hurry, but silently eats each tiny sugar molecule, creating energy to sustain its life. The moment that process begins is also when life is breathed into the dough. Through fermentation, yeast breaks down these sugars and releases two main byproducts: carbon dioxide gas and ethanol. Think of it as a quiet, rhythmic breath. The carbon dioxide gets trapped within the elastic web of gluten, creating millions of tiny bubbles. These bubbles act like miniature balloons, pushing the dough upward and outward, causing it to rise. It is this chemical expansion that transforms a heavy, dense ball of flour into a light and airy masterpiece. But the story doesn't end with texture. While the gas provides the lift, the ethanol and other organic acids produced by the yeast imbue the bread with its signature complex aroma and flavor. When the dough finally hits the heat of the oven, the yeast gives its final puff before the high temperature eventually stops its activity. What remains is the soul of the bakery, a fragrant, airy structure that tells a story of biology, patience, and the simple beauty of a living ingredient. There is a fascinating point. Whether you are baking in a small kitchen or brewing a batch of beer in a factory, you are still working with the same familiar friend, yeast. In both worlds, the principle is nearly identical. Yeast consumes sugar and converts it to create energy for itself, while simultaneously releasing carbon dioxide and ethanol. Therefore, at a fundamental level, a loaf of bread and a glass of beer actually begin from the same biological story. However, what creates the difference lies in the ultimate goal of humans. With bread, what is kept is the CO2. Those gas bubbles are trapped within the gluten network, helping the dough expand and creating a soft, airy texture. As for the alcohol produced, it evaporates almost completely during the baking process, leaving behind a subtle aroma. Conversely, in beer and wine, people care more about the ethanol, which is the alcohol, and the accompanying flavor compounds. In these cases, the CO2 is either retained to create carbonation, as in beer, or released, as in many types of wine. The difference also lies in the specific strains of yeast and environmental control. Certain yeast strains are selected specifically for baking, while others are optimized for beer or wine production to create distinct flavors. Temperature, fermentation time, and raw materials, from flour and barley to grapes, all contribute to shaping the final result. And so, from the same simple mechanism, yeast has told two very different stories. On one side is a warm loaf of bread, and on the other is a rich fermented drink, both carrying the signature of silent life. Long before humans understood the concept of microorganisms, yeast had already found its quiet place in everyday life, like a small, unexplained miracle. It is often believed that in ancient Egypt, the first loaves of bread may have risen by accident when dough was left exposed to warm air. It was here that people began to notice that something invisible was transforming their food, even if they could not yet name it. Early batches of beer and the first loaves of bread were all the result of an unintentional collaboration between humans and nature. Over thousands of years, yeast became deeply embedded in the culinary traditions of many civilizations. Yet it was not until the 19th century, when Louis Pasteur studied fermentation, that humans finally understood this process was not magic, but the work of living organisms. This discovery transformed fermentation from a mystery into a science that could be observed and controlled. Scientists began isolating different strains of yeast, discovering that each one produces distinct fermentation rates and flavor profiles. This led to the development of pure cultures, grown under sterile conditions to ensure consistency and reliability. In baking, yeast strains are optimized to produce carbon dioxide efficiently, helping dough rise evenly while maintaining structure. In contrast, brewing and winemaking rely on strains that can generate complex flavors, tolerate higher alcohol levels, and remain stable over longer fermentation periods. Beyond strain selection, humans also learned to control the environment in which yeast thrives. Temperature, pH levels, oxygen availability, and nutrient supply are all carefully regulated to achieve desired outcomes. In modern food production, fermentation systems are designed as controlled microecosystems, where every variable is closely monitored. With the rise of biotechnology, scientists can now even select or modify yeast strains to enhance specific traits, from faster fermentation to entirely new flavor characteristics. And yet, despite all this progress, the relationship between humans and yeast remains fundamentally the same. A quiet collaboration, one side providing the conditions, the other doing the unseen work, resulting in creations that blend science with a touch of artistry. There is a truth that I want you to know. In nature, yeast is a vast kingdom with thousands of species thriving everywhere, from the soil beneath our feet and the surface of the fruit we eat to the very skin we live in. What we find in our pantries is merely a tiny, specialized fragment of this invisible universe. The yeast, we know, is typically a member of the Saccharomyces family, but don't let the shared name fool you. Just as a sprinter differs from a marathon runner, bread yeast is not the same as beer yeast. Each strain is a specialist. Some are chosen to thrive in the heat of a bakery, while others are selected to dance with the delicate sugars of a specific grape to create a vintage wine. Ultimately, yeast is more than just a biological tool for inflation or fermentation. It is an artist of flavor. The specific strain you choose is what decides the final scent, the complexity of the taste, and the unique soul of the product. One fascinating aspect of fermentation is that flavor is not only created, but can also be guided if you understand how yeast and other microorganisms behave. Through fermentation, they produce organic acids, esters, and alcohols, key contributors to sourness, sweetness, and aroma. However, the intensity and balance of these flavor layers depend greatly on how the process is managed. For example, fermenting dough longer at lower temperatures often leads to deeper and more balanced flavors, as yeast works more slowly but produces more complex aromatic compounds. In contrast, higher temperatures speed things up, but may result in less refined taste. Using high-quality ingredients, such as protein-rich flour or natural sugars, also plays a crucial role in the final outcome. Additionally, a small amount of salt not only enhances flavor, but helps regulate yeast activity, preventing overly rapid fermentation. In the end, patience becomes the most important ingredient. The more naturally the process is allowed to unfold, the richer and more harmonious the flavor will be. So, how does yeast grow? For yeast, the answer lies in a simple yet highly effective mechanism: budding. Under favorable conditions, adequate moisture, warmth, and nutrients, a small bud begins to form from a single parent cell, gradually growing before separating into a new independent cell. This cycle repeats continuously, allowing the yeast population to expand rapidly over time. As the population grows, their activity becomes more noticeable, no longer silent, but visibly transforming the food around them. However, everything depends on the surrounding environment. Too cold, and growth slows. Too hot, and yeast may become inactive or die. In this way, every act of baking or fermenting is essentially the care and management of a delicate living ecosystem. Although basically, yeast used in food is safe and has been proven through thousands of years of application in fermentation. However, like any microorganism, issues arise when the system loses control or when hygiene conditions are not guaranteed. In some rare cases, if food is contaminated with undesirable yeast strains or microorganisms, the fermentation process can create inappropriate byproducts, affecting the digestive system, especially in people with weak immune systems. Additionally, improperly fermented foods can lead to the overgrowth of microorganisms, changing the pH and creating an unsafe environment for consumption. Some people may also experience intolerance reactions to compounds produced during fermentation, such as histamine in certain types of food. However, it is important to emphasize that yeast itself is not dangerous, but rather the way it is stored and the control of the process are the decisive factors in food safety. To reduce the risk of poisoning related to fermented foods or abnormal yeast growth during fermentation, the most important factors are always hygiene and control of environmental conditions. Food should be prepared using clean tools, fresh ingredients, and stored at the recommended temperature. When fermenting at home, keeping the correct ingredient ratios and avoiding prolonged exposure of food to the air will help limit the intrusion of unwanted microorganisms. In addition, if the food shows abnormal signs, such as a strange foul odor, changed color, or mold appearing on the surface, it should absolutely not be used. For commercial fermented products, choosing reputable brands and checking the expiration date is also an important step to ensure safety. Most importantly, it is necessary to understand that the risks associated with fermentation do not come from the yeast itself, but mainly from improper control during the fermentation process. When knowledge and hygiene are guaranteed, fermentation remains one of the safest methods of food preservation and processing for humanity. I want to share with you the 10-second rule for choosing safe and delicious fermented foods, a quick sensory check backed by food safety standards that ensures every jar you bring home is a masterpiece of biology, not a laboratory for disaster. First, safe fermented food must have a bright, natural color and clear texture. If you see fuzzy mold, white, green, or black on the surface, or if the food looks dull and mushy instead of crisp, it is a sign that bad bacteria have taken over. With drinks like kombucha, a little sediment is normal, but the liquid should not be muddy or have unusual viscosity. Next, look at the packaging. A lid that is excessively bulging or leaking is a warning of uncontrolled pressure or a broken seal. After that, glance at the ingredients list. Real fermented food should be simple, mainly the primary ingredient, salt and water. Avoid products loaded with artificial preservatives or colors, as these are often used to mask poor quality or fake the fermentation process. By mastering this 10-second test, you can become a top expert in foods created by these miraculous microorganisms, and this will surely leave your friends and family amazed. Hidden behind things that seem simple, like a rising loaf of bread or a foamy glass of beer, is an entire world of microorganisms working tirelessly. Yeast does not just create flavors, but also reflects how humans have learned to collaborate with nature instead of controlling it completely. The most important message of this journey does not lie in you becoming a better baker, but in you beginning to recognize the subtlety in very small things. Those invisible microorganisms remind us that nature always has a profound influence on us.
I am Edward, and this is QC Project Simple Things. Thank you for watching.
And if you find stories like this interesting, please continue to accompany me. Don't forget to press like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next discoveries.